Okay, well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Black Box Podcast. This is the second part, actually, of the case of Avril versus Melissa Vandella, exploring the theory that Avril Lavigne died in 2003 and was replaced by a lookalike named Melissa Vandella. And I did a first upload on this one. However, I had a second part recorded, but the second part somehow got deleted. And anyway, I wanted to put up another part again because there are a few very important things that need to be said about this. And this part of the podcast is mostly going to be just sort of arguing against this theory. The first part I did was a lot of background information that if anyone has made it to this corner of YouTube, they've probably heard it all before. So, some of the biggest things that that you would argue against the theory that Avril died and was replaced are first, most notably, the voice. And one of the very important things to say is people are looking at all of the different sort of comparisons between her voice in 2002 voice versus her voice in the later parts of the decade, and in, of course, 2010 to 2017. And shortly before this one, I was just listening to another comparison video, and she sounds relatively similar. And that was actually a big point that I mentioned in the first one. If you actually go through, watching 10 different videos, you'll find that her voice changes a lot. However, I do have to agree that in many of the interview clips from post 2006, really it's post 2010, the later part of maybe the last 10 years, just say from the last 10 years, her voice sounds very different in like most of her interviews. And I think one of the biggest results of that is cosmetic surgery. And when you look at the comparison photos, yeah, she does have some very distinct changes from 2002 to the present day. And a lot of people think that she just had some cosmetic work done. How does this affect the voice? Do you remember Michael Jackson's first cosmetic surgery? Not talking about he had one where he was injured and like some pyrotechnics and a fire and he was burned, and that was sort of more of a medical one. But the first nose job that Michael Jackson had was so that he could hit higher notes while singing. They part of the nose job was to alter his voice so that he could sing in a higher range. And I think something very similar probably happened with Avril. Yeah, it really doesn't appear that that is a different person all the time. I mean, in the first part of the video, I really said that, it's perhaps that she does have a look-alike or a body double from time to time. It's not unheard of, but I don't think she was died and was completely replaced. I think it's much more plausible that somebody just had a nose job, especially a professional singer did some cosmetic work to help them have a larger singing range. And what somebody else was even suggesting was when Avril began her singing career, in a lot of the interview clips, she does have, sort of a lower speaking voice. And that person suggested that singers are often encouraged not to talk in a low voice, and they are not encouraged to sing in a super low voice if it's, at the lower end of their range, because this can damage your vocal cords. So that could be another very, very possible option, that this is just a combination of some cosmetic work to alter her singing voice, as well as vocal coaching. Maybe like vocal coaching, that a voice coach has encouraged her to be at the higher end of her register. I think that's much more plausible that she died and the label forced the family to fake her own death. The other thing that would really need to be argued against the theory is there are a lot of comparisons between Avril and allegedly Melissa Vandella via photo. They're like saying that the birthmarks are different, the blemishes on the skin are different, she has different freckles, and they're, if you look at them side by side and you can compare for yourselves, to be honest with you, I can't see anything. They'll show you like two photographs. They're saying this is Avril, this is Melissa Vandella. I can't see anything. They just have a bunch of pink squiggly lines, like a little pink highlighter, circling different parts of her body. And I'm like, maybe my eyes have just gone to shit, but like, I can't really notice anything majorly different. So I don't really think that helps their case any to anyone who would honestly support this theory that Avril has been 100% replaced. The other thing that we would really want to notice is if you look at the photos of Avril with her hair up, yes, and like her hair up, you know what I'm talking about. She has very, very high cheekbones, and that really surprised me. Just, like most of the time her hair's down and it covers the sides of her face. When her hair's up, you can really see that she has very defined cheekbones that really almost protrude outward, and it's very noticeable. And in some of the photos of Melissa Vandella that I have seen, she has the same sort of cheekbone structure. And I think even with, and I'm just like, that is not Melissa Vandella. That is not a look-alike. No, that's actually Avril Lavigne. She just has probably had some cosmetic surgery and is wearing very different makeup. Yeah, like I think a lot of the comparisons from 2002 to 2017 are really just not accounting for the fact that someone has either had cosmetic surgery or they are drastically photoshopped. Even looking at a lot of photos of her that are allegedly from 2002, 2003, 2004, certain things just don't look natural. Like, it really looks like there's been some digital work done to her nose or to the jawline. And if you look at a lot of the close-ups from that time period, you will see that it just doesn't look like, natural human skin tissue, to say the least. And, this was definitely one of the lighter mysteries out there that you can explore, and there's no harm in, promoting something like this as long as it really just doesn't become a giant obsession. So I don't think there's too much harm to doing this, and I mean, what I'm trying to say is it doesn't hurt to investigate. This isn't one that's going to, destroy the earth, and it doesn't hurt to ask these kind of questions, and I think you can get some answers relatively quickly. And the other thing to keep in mind is that, they are real people, though, so, like, I mean, as long as people don't really get nasty about it, I don't think that it really hurts to just kind of explore the subject a little more. However, that's pretty much going to be it for part 2. Very, very short upload. It's just I had noticed that I lost part of my podcast, so I just wanted to upload some very critical points that I thought were relevant to the discussion. That, as I said before, it's most likely she had some cosmetic surgery that altered her singing voice. The photos that they use for comparisons, looking at the sort of skin content, are just not visibly suitable for the human eye. And also, keep in mind that it is possible that, she does have a body double, she does have a look-alike, and that person does do some things for her. I mean, she wouldn't be the first celebrity to do that. However, that doesn't mean she died, and that doesn't mean she gave up her career. And that doesn't mean that she has disappeared. It's just the short End of the story. Alright, that's it. I've said way too much, starting to ramble. Okay, everybody have a good time, and I will talk to you later.